once you say the best is in the past, and I'm just living off the past glory, then what kind of perspective is that? That's kind of lame. That might as well be time to quit. I think if you challenge yourself, you always have to have that attitude, or you should have that attitude of, you can do better, and the best might yet to come. Might be yet to come.
Yeah. But that's something I've come to know from you, that you always keep looking forward, whatever life throws at you.
I do, because that's more fun. I have no pleasure in poking around the past and double guessing things and reminisce about the past. I find it actually quite painful, because to me, what's done is done, which is another song of ours. Because I honestly think about, I think, what's the point, man? That was then, this is now, so let's move on forward and see what else can happen in this life,
Yeah, you're not much for nostalgia.
No, I don't even like I don't even like the 45-year anniversary tour and the 50-year, 30-year, all this kind of stuff. Maybe one day we'll do something, but so far we're so full of activities, and to me that always it always smells a little bit like retirement. You've got nothing else to say, and you sort of go through your life and take resume and whatever, and I don't know. I don't like it. It's boring.
Speaking about retirement, but now you're not able to go out there and tour. Are you keeping yourself busy, or?
It feels a little bit like retirement now.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
You don't like it?
Hell no.
What do you do to keep busy?
Different things. I mean, the album took a lot of time, writing these songs, promotion stuff for the album, and we're planning tour activities. So there's a little bit of that. But other than that, we don't really have a major thing to work on right now. We actually gonna rehearse here tomorrow a little bit, just so we can stay in shape, because it's been over a year that we've played live, and I miss it.
So, of course.
Maybe I start working on some more songs for a solo album or something. I don't know. I haven't really manifested anything particular. I mean, we'll stay busy, but it's not really the same as being on the road or having something really important to do. It's always, I guess we can all stay busy, but it doesn't, we can all fix up our house or do things like that, but that's not very exciting, is it?
Nope. I saw on the Accept Facebook page that you had an event for Sweden Rock Festival. That seems a little bit optimistic right now, doesn't it? Even for an optimist like you.
Yeah, but what are you going to do? Until it's canceled, I pretend like it's going to happen. I mean, we are ready to rock at a moment's notice, so I mean, we can't really pull the plug before they do. And we're in this awkward situation now that we have a full schedule for the summer, and we still don't know whether and what of all this is going to happen. We will do a headline tour next spring, in January, starting. What is it now? 22 then? Jesus, that's scary. Yeah, I know. And we're quite optimistic that will happen, but then again, maybe there's a third wave of yet another virus. I mean, these times are scary and weird, man.
Yeah.
And God help us all if that happens. If it doesn't stop anytime soon, I don't think there will be any entertainment, no artists left anymore, because we can't survive on nothing, thin air,
You started the pandemic in 2011.
No, I know. Blame me for it.
Well, I was thinking, you keep pushing forward. That's your thing. But was there ever a little bit of you that thought when Peter left that this is it?
No,
this is it?
Not for a second. I mean, as sad as it was, and I was really a bit heartbroken and sad and whatever, because we've been together for so many years that I didn't really know how this would feel for me personally. But then, well, you know, you got a responsibility and you want to keep something going for the band. Everybody in the band now, the crew, that we've got the audience out there, they still enjoy Accept's music, and I don't think it would do anybody a favor if I just called it quits because of that. And so I think, you know, the best way forward is just to push on, you know. And that's what we did.
Yeah, but you sort of, it's a new era for the band, new chapter.
Yeah, but it's always a new era, whether one guy leaves or, I mean, in this case, it's yet another new era because now I'm the last man standing, but there was new eras before and we survived all of them in a way. You know, when you got the biggest change we ever did was starting again with a new lead singer. And if we survived that, I think we can survive anything because that's the biggest, I think in a band environment, this is the biggest risk you can take, you know.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I've heard Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons say that there might be a Kiss after they're gone. Do you think there will be a Accept without Wolf Hoffmann?
I can hardly imagine it, and it'd also be an interesting legal scenario, you know. I mean, who are these people? Yeah, I mean, anything. I don't know. When I plan on doing this until I drop dead on stage one day, you know, with 95. So we'll see. It's still 35 more years to go. So
too mean to die.
Exactly. Well, not entirely, but quite yet, you know, too mean to die yet.
Yeah, but
at one day I'm going to be mean enough to die, I think, you know, like everybody.
Well, hopefully that's a long way in the future.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's been quite an interesting recording process.
I've heard stories where people exaggerate a little bit. It wasn't really as crazy as it sometimes sounds. The only crazy thing was that half of the songs were recorded without our producer being in the studio, which was kind of strange. But really, I mean, you see how it's working. I mean, if you were the producer now and I would sit here and play you songs, you could say something from where you are. It's not the exact same thing as if you're sitting in the same room with somebody. What's going on here? Oh, hello.
What's a snapshot?
Snapshot. All right, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's not the exact same thing when you're sitting in a room with somebody, but it's still doable. So we had 4 or 5 songs that we had to finish that way because during the travel restrictions, Andy Sneap, our producer, couldn't come in from England. So it was a bit, we had no other choice, you know.
Yeah. How did the analog man handle it?
Surprisingly well. But again, because he had no choice, you know. I think anybody will become digital when analog is not an option.
Well,
even analog man has an iPhone and is on Skype all the time. So, you know, there's that.
Well, when I listened to the album, I thought when I came to the song, what is yeah. Oh God. I just. What's this? Overnight sensation.
Okay.
Yeah, overnight sensation. That got me thinking. Is this just Mark being grumpy again, or?
A little bit.
A little bit.
In a fun way, you know.
Yeah.
And he's got a point, you know. I mean, I think I came up with the idea about the story, the subject, or the topic, I should say, because it fascinates me that there's all these YouTube kids out there, a new generation now of fans and people, not fans, of people who become famous overnight. sometimes they just post something, or they have a unique ability to do something in their bedroom, and they post a video, and overnight, and all of a sudden they've got 1 million followers, or some of them get rich, filthy rich doing it. And it's such a different world from when we grew up, because back in our times, it was always understood that in order to be successful at anything, you have to invest the time. You have to put in your 10,000 hours to learn your instrument, or to learn dancing, or whatever it might be that you're into. And then maybe one day you'll make it to where you can support yourself and be a professional artist and be successful. And nowadays, there's this attitude of instant gratification. People want it right away.
Yeah.
And they want to do something, and they want to bring it out to the world. And a second later, they're world famous. And what a drastic change from, within a generation. Crazy.
Yeah.
And that's all that song is all about. I mean, it's not really, it's poking fun at the whole thing a little bit, of course, in Mark's grumpy way. And that's great.
Yeah. Yeah. It has a really classic Accept vibe to it, the whole song.
Yeah, it's very kind of similar to Analog Man in a way. Even the song it's not musically but it's got a similar vibe to it.
Yeah, and I can already imagine you on the stage, like moving your hips to it.
Yeah,
it's that kind of song.
Me too, and that's always a good sign. We sit here in the studio listening to songs or song ideas. We always think like, you can see yourself almost picture it in your head, and the crowd bouncing to it. So that's usually a good sign when you think like it's a good live song.
Yeah, but do you ever feel it gets limiting to have like it's got to sound like Accept, or does it come naturally? Or
everything's got to sound like Accept, and we're kind of mindful of that, of course. And just the way that I pick and write the riffs, that a lot of times is half the battle, because it's so much of that is the way that I play guitar and that I write the riffs, and then the way that we structure songs is very old school. So there's certain elements that we are using that I wouldn't say guarantee it, but they kind of make it into this thing, what's later called Accept. And, and the way that Andy Sneap picks out the song ideas, he's always kind of careful to not pick something, because basically the way I work a lot of times, always really, is I record anything that comes to mind, and about only a small percentage of that is actually usable for Accept. But I usually play everything to him, and then I see what he responds to. So he's very helpful in picking out the right songs for an album, the ones that concentrate and work on, and he's got a good sense of what Accept fans want to hear. And having done this with him these last 5 albums, I've got a pretty good indicator too by now. We usually agree 100% on what we do, but it's always great to have him on board too, because sometimes I'm not sure myself. Is this too much? Is it too much old school? Is it too new? Or is it too different? Or, it's always judgment call.
He's like almost a member of the band, so to speak.
He is, yeah, in a way. It feels that way, definitely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I have 3 guitarists. How's
crazy.
Changed the sound?
Not the album sound, because in the studio we've always layered a gazillion guitar tracks.
Yeah.
So that it really didn't bring, but it has changed the color of the album, in the sense that we made sure, now that we have Phil as a third guitar player, we really wanted to give him some space on this album and make sure he actually does play some solos and some fills and some of that stuff. So it's not always just me, you know what I mean? So what would be the point of having 3 guitar players? And traditionally I've always recorded most, if not all, of the guitar tracks on every studio album since Restless and Wild. Not because I always absolutely insisted on it and wanted to. It is mostly out of necessity, and sometimes I was the only guitar player in the band, and I've been one of the main writers or whatever. whatever the reason might have been, but it's been going on forever and ever. So in the studio, you can always pretend to be any band you want to be. You can layer as many guitar tracks as you want to. But the cool thing is having Phil on board now is he contributes to the album, but the main difference will be live, because it's a lot of fun to play with a third guitar, because we can now do parts that we couldn't do before. We can do twin harmonies and have a rhythm guitar underneath, and a lot of back and forth soloing, and sometimes all three of us riff or all three of us solo. So it just opens up the spectrum a little more.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
But you spoke about layering, but I mean, to me as a listener, it's like, what's the use to like make it sound fantastic on an album if you can't emulate it live?
You got to be careful not to overdo it,
Yeah.
And that's again where the producer comes in. You don't want to have it too overproduced and too perfect and too polished, because then you can't reproduce it live, and it's going to be a disappointment live. But Accept has always been a very strong live band, and I don't think we've ever had any problem reproducing what we played in the studio. But there's always some songs that lend themselves better to be performed live than in the studio. But I don't think we've ever recorded anything that we couldn't ever play live, But it's very easy to do. I mean, you can be a god on the computer, and then you bomb when you have to play it live, because I mean, you can cut and paste anything that you want to, and it's going to be perfect. And also the other thing is, when it's too perfect, it becomes sterile and quite boring. And we have all heard these records where it's what we call laptop metal, when it's you know what I mean? It sounds kind of fake and computery and whatever, and that's boring too. You don't want, truly. So with all the technology that we have at our disposal and all the tools, we want to keep a lot of the old school approach. We want to use the convenience of the modern stuff, but you can't fall into this trap of you got to of doing it too much. You got to keep the life spirit as much as possible, and even if it's not imperfection is charming sometimes. You don't want it good enough, but you don't want it too clean and too boring.
Yeah, but I mean, how do you go about on stage then when you have played the same song like a million times? Do you like change it up a little?
You mean during a tour when we play the same song again and again?
Yeah.
No, we don't really change it up. I mean, no performance is ever exactly the same. So every night is slightly different, just because 5 or now 6 individuals are performing it. So I mean, it depends on the form of the day, how it all feels, and sometimes it's it's just never exactly the same. That's why when we do a live recording, for instance, we record a lot of shows and then just listen through the performance and pick the one that we like the best, because they're never quite, I mean, they're very close, very, very close, but still, why not pick the one that's magic, out of all those?
Yeah, absolutely. But you said you were going to rehearse soon.
Yeah, we are. And it's funny. We now have to go back, and I have to sit here and learn my own songs, because I haven't played them since we recorded them, and now I have to go back and I forgot all the chord changes and where to play it. So I have to listen, like if it's a foreign song, I have to sit there and go like, what the hell did I do then? It comes back quite quick, but initially it's like, it's as if I've never even played it.
Are you able to do a full band rehearsal in the same room now?
Not. I mean, Mark isn't here right now, and so we just do, some of us. We just get a first idea. It's just going to be the 4 of us who are in Nashville, and because of COVID, Uwe, our other guitar player, he can't come to us, so he has to learn alone for now. Yeah. And we're just having a bit of fun. We're not really doing full-blown production rehearsals. We're just messing around to get,
And that's a reason that it complicates things. You can't do a live stream because everyone isn't available.
But we could, but we don't really want to be honest. It sounds incredibly boring to play to a bunch of cameras, to be honest. You know,
Yeah.
it's not really because you don't get any response. I mean, an Accept show is dependent on the response of the audience and on them singing along and getting into it because that's what it's all about. If we're just performing by ourselves, pretending there's an audience out there, I don't know. I don't think that's appealing to anybody. I don't think it's be fun to watch, or it certainly wouldn't be fun to do for us.
No, but it's like you have a lot of new songs and the fans aren't able to hear them live, to experience them live.
Yeah, well, they just have to wait, sort of like we do. Sorry, wait.
Waiting is hard.
Tell me about it. I know. It sucks.
Yeah, but it's gonna be all the better when we can go to shows and.
Exactly, it's gonna be a huge release and it's gonna be amazing. I know. It's gonna be. I feel like a caged tiger.
Yeah, you could even say that the best is yet to come.
There you go. What a concept. Yeah.
Yeah, you can use that on lots of things. I was thinking, do you listen to other music? What kind of music do you listen to?
I mean, there's days when I don't listen to any music at all, and day after day, a lot of times I just like a little piece of quiet.
Yeah.
I'm not one who has to have constantly music around, and if I do, it's a lot of times classical music or, even, I don't know, something soul music sometimes at the house, just something way different from what we normally do, because to me, to listen too much, if I listen to too much metal, then I always have I think I get influenced, and in the back of my mind, when I sit there and write songs, I hear Metallica or somebody else in my mind, and I don't really want that, to be honest. I want to be free.
You don't listen to any country?
No, I'm not a big fan of it. I wouldn't say I don't listen to it. I'm exposed to it all the time, of course.
Yeah.
Can't help it. And some of it is really actually brilliantly done, but I'm not a big fan of it. I mean, some of this stuff is pretty much now country music is like what Bon Jovi hair pop metal was in the 80s almost. That's what country sounds like nowadays.
Yeah. But you were talking about maybe doing a solo record when you're downtime, and you said you had stuff that maybe doesn't fit for Accept. Are you open to doing like a more of a contemporary solo album? Or?
I mean, between Accept and maybe this classical stuff, that's all I can ever handle, and even that is a lot, because I mean, just making one of those classical albums, that takes months, man. It's not something that's in a couple of weeks. Unfortunately, there's a lot of work goes into it, so it's a major undertaking. No, I think I'm got my hands pretty full. I wouldn't dare to do any other projects on the side even. And it's one of the reasons why when people ask me all the time if I wanted to contribute guest appearances on other, it's not, first of all, it's not my thing. I don't enjoy it much. And then honestly, I've got enough to do. I can't be bothered with any of that.
Well, that's a good reason as any.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I mean, I'm just trying to be honest. I'd like to help out people and do it, but geez, it's just, I can't do everything.
Do you have time to pick up the camera? Or?
Very rarely. My camera looks like this nowadays. That's unfortunate. No, and I kind of lost interest a little bit. I mean, I sometimes still shoot pictures for necessary things here and there, but I don't really go out much with my camera just to explore and whatnot, because digital changed the whole game so much. Now that everything is digital, I enjoyed it more when it was the film days. It was more of a challenge and a craft, and you know, digital is so easy. It lost its appeal a little bit.
Well, yeah, in a way. Something I've been thinking about way back. I think it was like around
World War II.
Yeah, something like that. No, I think it was like around the Blind Rage album. There was talk about like sort of a vault project, and
Yeah. The famous Acceptology. That's right.
that's what it was. I couldn't remember what it was called.
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
And I loved it, but we were mainly looking for video filmed footage from the early days, and we thought it would be a great gathering place to keep it all together for posterity or whatever. And we asked people to send their stuff in, but there was surprisingly little footage of the. I mean, now with iPhones and such, everybody has footage, and it'd be easy to do now.
Yeah.
But what we were looking for was historic stuff from the early days.
Yeah.
And there's really nothing out there, or hardly anything, because if you think about it, people weren't allowed to smuggle in. I mean, they weren't allowed to bring it in, so you almost had to smuggle in a video camera, and those things were huge back then.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember having one of those things that had a umbilical cord attached to like a backpack thing on the side. The recorder was in your shoulder bag thingy, and you had a cable, and just I mean, it looked like something from Apollo 15 or something, whatever.
Yeah.
And so you couldn't possibly bring that into a concert, and people just didn't. So nobody filmed stuff that we weren't aware of, very rarely. So unfortunately, there wasn't enough. It just didn't go very far.
That's too bad.
I know. Very sad.
Well, I was thinking, the first thing I noticed about the album cover of To Mean Today was the flying V in the snake head.
What flying V in the snake head? Is there a flying V in the snake head? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Let me look. Hold on.
I thought it was your idea.
So the snake was, but not the flying V. All right, let's have a look. There might be a hidden flying V, and I'm not even aware of it. Where is it?
Yeah, on top of its head.
Oh, that thing there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Point downward.
All right, it's a hidden flying V. You convinced me.
Yeah, and I was like,
I put that there. It was my idea. It was great.
Yeah, it was great idea. Yeah, I just wanted to know whose idea it was.
Probably the designer sneaked it in and didn't even tell me about it. You know,
yeah, who designed the album cover?
The guy with the unpronounceable name Gyula. I mean, it's spelled Gyula. So you tell me how to pronounce that in Hungarian. And he told me once, but I forget. Anyhow, he's in Hungary. Great guy, great artist. And we've worked with him in the past. He's an amazing guy. Love him.
Yeah.
And he might have put that in there because he likes to do things like that, like little secret hidden thingies.
It's too obvious to be a coincidence.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, like I said, my idea. Brilliant idea. Well, I think that's pretty much it as questions go for me. Sweet. Well, yeah, very good chatting with you. I'm glad it worked out. See, it wasn't so hard, was it?
No, it was good.
See, technology makes it happen, baby.
Yeah, from one continent to another.
Amazing.
Hopefully see you in Sweden soon.
I'm hoping. You know, if you let us in, we'll be there. If you say it's safe to come or reasonably safe, we'll be there.
Yeah. Hopefully we're getting vaccinated soon.
Yeah, I think that's the answer. As soon as people get either vaccinated or tested before they come into a show, then it'll be all open. I mean, possible. Anything will be possible. But is it going to be in time for these summer shows? You know. Who knows?
And we have quite a lot of anti-vaxxers in Sweden too.
Yeah. Yeah, they're everywhere. They're out there.
They're out there.
Just like zombies.
Zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, there you go.
There
All
you
right,
go.
man.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
It was great talking with you.
I got
things to do. I got some metal to make. So nice talking with you. You stay safe, and we'll do it again someday. All right.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Take care. Bye.
Take care.